This is the last part of our mini lecture on reviewing things you should bring into your math course. Here we're going to review decimals and percents, write decimals as fractions, add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals, round decimals to a given decimal place. This is a very useful item. Write fractions as decimals, write percents as decimals and decimals as percent, and then our vocabulary: dividend, quotient, divisor, percent, place value. All right, well, let's get started. Now, here they're asking us to write as fractions, but do not simplify. So let's start that. So if you read this, 7/10, 7/10. Now this is going to be 1 and 22/100ths. So it's sort of like 1, 2, 2 over 100. Now remember, if you converted this back into its decimal form, put that in your calculator, you would get this, and the same here. Now this is to the thousands, so it would be 299 over 1,000. And this would be 471 over 10, because this is the tenths place. Now, I'm not going to do these because generally you're going to do them on your calculator, but the key when you're working with decimals in the old-fashioned way, you had to line them up so that the place values coincided, and you weren't adding whole numbers to fractions and things like that. And the same here. You're just going to put that in your calculator. And the same for multiplication. Now, one of the things to remember, if you're multiplying something with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then here there's one more, you have 6 decimal places. There will be at least 6 decimal places in your answer. And again, if you're taking this and you're going to put division by this, in your calculator, they give you answers. All right, so let's raise this up a little, and we'll get on. This will be perhaps a short one here. Now they're asking us here to round to a given decimal place. Or here they're saying hundredths. So the hundredths place is there. We go to the thousands place, which is a 9. If it's 5 or more, we drop it and then add 1. So this will become 0.54. We're rounding that to the hundredths place. Now, if this were a 4 instead of a 9, we would leave it as 0.53. Now here to the tenths place. Well, that's 1 decimal. 5 or more, this will become 2.4. We drop the 5 and add 1. If it were a 3, we would drop it and that would be 2.3. Now this to the thousandths place, which is 3 decimal places. So we're going to round this off by dropping the 7 and adding a 1 to the 3. So this becomes 27003 0.064. So 3 decimal places is to the thousandths. Now write each fraction as a decimal. If the decimal is a repeating decimal, write using the repeating bar notation, and then round to the nearest thousandths. That would be 3 decimal places. So if I put this into my calculator, I get 0.40, I should say. Let's clear all that up anyway. 0.40, and they want to the nearest thousandths. Normally you could write this as just plain 0.4, and maybe that's just in terms if it's a repeating fraction. So I'm going to go with just 4/10. Now for letter B, this is a repeating fraction. So this becomes 0.6666. So I could write it as 0.6 with a repeating bar, because the 6 repeats, or I can write it to the nearest thousandths. Let's say here 6 6/7, rounding it off to this. So again, you wouldn't write it this way. You would write it with the repeating bar, 0.6. Now 3/8 is again I think it's 375, but I'll have to check that. Number 4. Yes, 375. Again, you're using your calculator for this. You're going to divide 19 divided by 6, and that's going to go, 6 goes into there 3 times. That's 18 1/6. And 1/6 is 1. Then the 6's start repeating here. So again, a way to write that would be 3.16 repeating, or 3.1667 would be a good way to do that. All right, let me pause and check our answers to be sure I'm giving you good information. Now here it's to change the following percent to decimals. Now the rule is like 16%. The percent sign stands for, in a sense, 2 decimal places. So the decimal is here. If I take away the percent sign, I have to move the decimal over. So this becomes 0.16. So again, let's do this one. 5.1, and I can add a 0%. So again, I'm going to move the decimal place over 2 places. So this one becomes 0.051, and I didn't need that 0 there. All right, 300%. Again, it's 300%. Percent stands for 2 decimal places. So I move it over, and this just becomes 3. Now the 0.7%, you write that out here. Again, the percent sign stands for 2 decimal places. So I have to move it over 2 decimal places. So this becomes 0.007. Remember, this is 7/10 of 1%. Okay. Change the following to percent. Well, it's just the opposite. Here we're going to move the percent sign 2 places to the right, and that becomes 58%. The decimals here, move it 2 places to the right, so this becomes 200%. Decimal here, 2 places to the right, this becomes 0.0. I'm going to watch what I'm doing here. It just becomes 0.3%. That makes it a lot easier that way. And I can put a 0 out there if I like. Again, change to percent. Move the decimal place over 2 places. 345%. And these are all down here too. Alright, so we kept this one short. The other one was a little long. And again, rounding is going to be a very important topic as we move forward. So hopefully you'll have a chance to watch these before we start our course, and you can come in with some basic arithmetic skills.